There's this thing called leadership loneliness. You could also say small business owner loneliness. And have you ever heard of it? It's one of those things that's there. We just may not recognize it as what it is and why it takes so much control over us. Anyhow, one of the ways to avoid that is through coaching support, which we've been talking about all week. So we're going to talk about coaching support, how to avoid loneliness as a leader or an owner, and so much more on episode 813 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Bob. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Look at this lighting. You can see all of my face in all its glory. I'm so excited.
Didn't you celebrate that yesterday as well?
It's even better today. I finally found, so I told you I moved a couple weeks ago into the penthouse.
Yes.
And then I was away for a week in the middle, and I finally found the box that had the second light in it.
You know, a lot
I've seen the light.
You've seen the light. For the moment, at least.
For the moment, that's right.
Till the sun comes up and then it changes again, right?
No, I got the sun going up. I put blinds. I got privacy blinds. I hung those. I've put a lot of commitment into what I will call the studio.
So in the penthouse, there's a studio.
Yeah, the second bedroom has become the studio, and there's no bed in the second bedroom. Can I do this? Let me see if I can show you. How do I get the background to go away?
You're really going to try this?
I really am. I'm
trying to eliminate your background and think that everything is going to work out the way you plan it.
That's what I'm going with. Hang on, bear with me.
For those of you on the podcast, I'll just talk while Bob tries to figure out how to change his background screen. You can pause your thoughts for a moment while he...
Okay, there you go. See all the boxes?
I can see them. Our podcast viewers cannot.
Okay, so you can see a vacuum, a whole bunch of boxes, and let me show you some more. Okay.
Some unloading.
There are my nice privacy blinds.
Nice.
2.5-inch slats to keep as much light as possible. And then the real pièce de résistance is, can you see these? These are acoustic tiles.
Look at you.
To avoid the echo.
Just got dizzy. Very nice. You
there
put
you
some
go.
work
So
into the studio.
I'm representing today. You know, I'm all in, Tom.
Although now people know that you don't have the nice painted walls that you have in your background.
This is yes.
And a nice conference room that you're working out of.
And I got back to the way it was.
What if you really want to enhance the studio? You could paint that logo on the wall. You could probably do that with like those. What are those things that they're like stickers almost?
Yeah, like a decal.
Yeah, you could probably get that done and put on your wall.
I was thinking of painting that wall behind me green.
Green? Oh.
So it'd be a green screen. I'm pretty close to that one. But that's a commitment to this is becoming a studio, not a second bedroom, which is probably an effective means because I can't picture anyone wanting to stay in the second bedroom.
Okay. I mean, you don't have any guests coming over?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
Good try. And I did buy a stand-up desk that I'm going to build over the weekend, and that'll help because I like standing up when I do this. You'll see a new level of enthusiasm when I'm at a stand-up desk.
Fair enough. I wonder if our podcast listeners will notice the difference.
My voice resonates more when I'm standing up. Doesn't yours?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I don't stand up.
They say standing up is better when you're using your voice.
It's different.
It's better for you because your lungs are getting more air more easily.
Different for you. Nice try.
Anatomically, it's better.
It's different.
Okay. So, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good.
And we hope everyone else out there is doing well. Welcome to today's Antidote, or as we like to call it, Home Improvement with Bob. Every morning we have this, every weekday morning we have this discussion around a topic. And as I mentioned in the opening, this week's topic is coaching support. We've been talking about support for you in your business or your leadership role, organization, team, all week, right? Sorry, all month. And this is just the next step of it. If you want to go back and listen to our conversations around peer support, community support, friends and family support, I think there's some value you will find in there. So you can go back and listen to those episodes. As we go through our conversation today, though, about avoiding loneliness and how a coach can help you with that, we encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas as well, because we know it'll add value to the show. And at the conclusion of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out if you might be stuck, uncertain, overwhelmed, or just not confident about what your next step is. And maybe you're feeling like, wow, I had never really thought about it, but maybe I am lonely as a leader. That this will help you take that next step. And of course, we would welcome you to share your antidote, your one thing as well. Even if you think it's something common, something that everybody knows, why would you need to share it? Because everybody else knows it. Well, they may have heard it, or someone may have shared it with them in the past. It doesn't mean that they actually heard it. And the way that you share it might be the way that actually gets through, and they hear it differently, which allows them to actually understand it and figure out and take whatever step that they may be holding back on. So please feel free to share. Before we dive into that conversation, though, each morning, Bob and I share our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating the return of baseball in Baltimore. So the Orioles have been playing, and they've been playing exciting baseball after a number of years of not having a lot of excitement. It's fun to be watching the games and having hope that they can win. They've got some good players, and I've gotten into a habit in the evening of watching the games on TV and reading a bit and just enjoying baseball, which is always, it goes back to when I was a kid. I really enjoyed baseball and kind of fall in and out of love with it. And I love the new rules that make the game go faster. It's so much more engaging. And then it also is great with the stolen bases because the bases are bigger. And so it becomes didn't you hear that?
No.
I think the bases, they are 3 inches bigger in all directions. So you're actually 6 inches closer between bases. So you would say 6 inches, that doesn't matter. But when you're talking about, half a second for a runner to steal the base, that's a big difference. So there's lots more steal attempts, a lot harder for the catchers. It changes the whole strategy of the game. So now we're getting football-like scores to baseball games. Like there was a game the other night that was 11-0. I think the Yankees won. There have been some 9-6 games. 14-3. The Orioles game yesterday, I think, was 12-7, 12-8.
It's also the start of the year.
Which is what baseball wants. They want more runs.
Well, and it's the start of the year where people are still
right
figuring things out. The hitters are a little further ahead than the pitchers.
Yeah, there's definitely that. Yes.
They probably juiced up the ball again, too. So there's that.
Yes. And I didn't tell you, you're a big Yankees fan. Have you ever seen Aaron Judge in person?
Have I seen Aaron Judge in person?
Like at the game, like in the outfield, he is huge, Tom.
Dude, I can tell that.
You could put 2 other players inside of his body and still have space.
Yeah, he's big dude.
And I was at the game Saturday in Baltimore where the Yankees were playing, and they have these rubber things that they put around the player's waist, and trainer, someone holds it to just, and they're doing it with all these players. And I jokingly say to the people I'm with, I hope they don't do it with Aaron Judge because he's going to shoot the person into the stands. Sure enough, the poor trainer's trying to hold back Aaron Judge. It's like this little scrawny guy with all his weight pulling back, and Aaron Judge just walking with this band around him like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Big guy.
He is huge.
Well,
that's baseball talk.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever seen him in person. I'm trying to remember how long he's been on the team and the last time I saw the Yankees in person.
He's also incredibly agile. Like, he doesn't look like he works hard to move his body in the way he does.
Yeah, he's athletic. There's no doubt about it.
That's the word I was looking for. Athletic. I wouldn't know that word.
Fair enough.
I'm the antithesis. You've seen me play golf. You've seen me try dunk a basketball.
Yes, I have. And others have seen you try to dunk a basketball as well. I wonder if that's on here. If I could bring that up. Just for... I don't think I have it on here.
So for those of you who don't know, way back when we began this 3 years ago, Tom and I were, we were trying to figure out the program. And for some reason, we were talking about dunking a basketball. And I've never been able to dunk a basketball. And Tom thought that he might be able to talk me through it, teach me through it. So I went in my backyard, Tom on video, because this was in the middle of COVID. We tried this. It was a spectacular disaster, I would say. Would you not?
I wouldn't define it that way. That sounds like a judgment. I just thought it was an interesting experience.
It was interesting.
We were talking about, because I remember in high school, or maybe even younger than that, I saw this video about the things that if we think through them, or if we actually go through some processes, we can do things that we didn't think we could do. And one of them, I remember them being, they showed a picture of someone trying to touch a rim. And they went through this whole mental process of not only thinking about it, but actually imagining what it would feel like to go through the steps that you would need to see if you could touch the rim or how high you could touch the rim. And it was fascinating to watch the process. And so we thought maybe we could do it with Bob.
The visualization.
Well, it's not just it's the wow, I can't say that word.
Visualization.
Wow. Yes, and it's also the like body awareness. So part of it is also like imagining where you hit the rim on your hand and feeling that feeling of it. So yes, you're visualizing it, and you're also sort of providing some other stimulus in regards to touch that I think and feel of like what your legs would go through as they push off and how the muscles would change. It was fascinating to listen to.
It was kind of a fun exercise, but
it was.
We should figure out another way to do it sometime soon. Something else that we can walk through.
You don't want to try to dunk a basketball again?
No, I might try my golf swing. We could try that.
We could try that. That might be worthwhile. Okay. How we got there from your celebration is a fascinating.
Don't know. What's your celebration, Tom?
I think I forgot now that No, my celebration is that I think I celebrated yesterday that I had a business that I was able to go and do a game at noon. College women's lacrosse game. And I think my celebration is just, it was such a beautiful day out there yesterday. It was
gorgeous.
Warm. The sky was blue. My game was at noon. The sky was perfectly blue, not perfectly blue, but it was very clear blue. And there was just enough of a breeze because it was warm. And, I think one of the challenges we have here in Maryland is we go from 50s and wearing pants and all sorts of gear to 80s sometimes. And you're like, I'm not quite ready for that. My body's not quite ready for that transition. So it was nice to have a little breeze and nice to have the game be done. And I could come back here and still do some things afterwards. So my celebration was the lovely day that it was yesterday.
Yesterday was gorgeous. I made dinner and had dinner on my patio for the first time with someone. So it was yes, it was very, very, very
your
very
balcony.
Nice.
You're in the penthouse, aren't you? Isn't that really like
yeah, you're right. It's a balcony. Sorry, I
something?
said patio or porch or whatever. Yeah, it would be a balcony. You're right. I have to get those words right. Yes.
Right. You don't have a porch on your
No, you're right.
in the penthouse.
Balcony is the right word. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, there might even be another word for it that would be beneficial. Anyhow, all right, enough of our witty banter. I guess you could call it witty. Some people might be like, "Would you guys get on with it already?" I've been trying
That's how we avoid loneliness with our witty banter.
Fair. So we're talking about coaching support this week, and today we're talking about. And I remember as I was I was struggling to put together what the appropriate subtitle would be. And
Isn't appropriate a judgment, Tom?
yeah, it actually is. It's an adjective, right? So,
Okay, just
I
you
was
gotta
trying to
get
come
what
up
you
with
give.
subtitle. And and it just got me thinking about what are one of the true benefits of coaching support that is a little bit different, and I was all over the place with it, and I finally settled on loneliness. It was interesting. One of the thoughts I had was coaching support coach versus babysitter, which might have been an interesting conversation, although we might be part of that as well. So do you have thoughts on avoiding loneliness, Bob?
I do. I don't know that I like the word loneliness.
Okay.
I think it's being responsible by yourself. And it's not the time alone that I don't like when I'm running my business. It's the fact that I'm responsible for everything myself. And one of the things I think a coach can do for me is help me to see outside of that tunnel vision. I tend to be very high or very low. I'm either really excited about what I'm doing or I'm really down about it. There isn't a middle ground. And I think one of the things a good coach can do is help me see, wait a second, Bob, it wasn't that bad. You did these things really well. Yes, you could work on this thing. I tend to see only the bad stuff. Or if it's really good, oh my God, that was the best sales call I've ever done. Amazing. Well, what about this? And I think modulating that can be really powerful because alone in my own head, I'm either amazing or horrible. There are very few days where I am just Bob. You've spent 3 years with me. Am I wrong? It's either, when I come on before the program, you can tell I'm either way up here or way down here. And I think a coach can really help us find that middle ground and help us not feel alone in the sense that I made a decision and I have to live with the decision. And sometimes as an owner, as a leader, you're going to make decisions that aren't the best decisions. You're not going to be 1,000%. It's just not going to happen. And I think a coach can help you figure out where the system broke down and build a process so that the next time you handle that situation differently. And I think that's one of the things that helps me to avoid the feeling of being alone, which to me, alone, I only feel alone when things are bad. I don't feel alone when they're good. When they're good, I don't care if there are people in my life or not. I'm Bob having a great day. I feel alone when it's like, boy, that was really horrible. Oh, I thought I was going to get that contract. Someone else got it. And there's no one to turn and like the water cooler. Oh, you're not going to believe what happened to me today. You don't have that sense. And I think whether the coach is a formal coaching arrangement or just someone in your life that can coach you through those times. You do that with me all the time. I mean, that's pretty much why our show starts late every day, including today, because you're coaching me through the very facets of my life. But I think that's really powerful to avoid the feeling of being inferior. I would have changed the title to Avoiding Inferiority. That would have been what drew my attention because that's what usually the coaching does. I rarely get the coach saying, oh my God, Bob, you're amazing. You should be even more amazing. You're brilliant. Usually it's, hey, what about this? What about this? And how do you process the things that aren't going the way you would hope they would?
So it's interesting. Because Michael has a couple of comments that I want to share.
Okay. I can't see the comments for some reason today. I don't know if I hit the wrong button. Good light, but bad comment access.
Maybe it was when you decided to show everyone your studio that you
it worked.
That ability. I think though one of the things too is you said avoiding inferiority. I think it's also avoiding superiority.
Okay.
Because while you think you don't need anyone, or you don't feel lonely when you're having success, you might be the only one that's feeling that way, and it might put you at a point where you've stopped seeing anyone else, and so you are truly alone in that regard, and unable to see other things that are around you that could likely come up and be like, yeah, you think you're at the point of being great, and then it comes and whacks you in the face. So Michael shares, he's got two comments here. One is that his take on being a boss can be like being stranded on a desert island. It's lonely. He likes the word lonely. I like this guy more and more. You're always second guessing yourself.
Yep.
And there's no one to talk to except the coconut you named Wilson. So if you got
He's making reference to Castaways, Tom Hanks movie,
is,
right?
Although I know he's not on an island, but on his own island. I wonder what he named his coconut, Michael. However, he says,
that's a really good question to ask anyone.
This type of mental coaching is like having a team of Wilsons on your side that offers fresh perspectives to help keep you on track, and using social media guys like you guys as Wilson balls. All right, excellent. So we're the coconut.
The highest praise I think I've ever gotten, Tom, was being called Wilson ball.
Well, it's true. I mean, I think we all, try to figure these things out. And that's the challenge of it, is you feel like you're all alone trying to make a decision, which is why we usually reach out to people to be like, hey, I'm trying to figure this out. The challenge is, unlike an arrangement with a coach, is, as we've talked about earlier this month, many of those other people didn't sign up to be the person who now you're asking them for their thoughts. And now they feel like, oh boy, if I share my thoughts and they choose based on my thoughts, what happens if it doesn't go the way that I thought it might?
Or I'm not qualified because I don't understand what they're doing to the level they do.
And all you want to do is support them.
Right.
Just be like,
right.
Oh, I'm sure whatever you do will be fine. And it's fascinating. And I hope she doesn't mind that I share this. I was having this conversation with my daughter last night. She's searching for jobs. She's in a position she likes. And yet there's some things about it that she would like to be different. And she's searching for a job.
I hope they know that.
What's that?
I hope they know that.
Oh, well, because this is so well broadcast that they're going to find this out.
You never know.
And, at some point she's like, I just wish someone would tell me what to do. And I was like, you really don't want someone to tell you, because no one knows. And, it's like you said, you just wish someone would tell you what to do. And I think the only reason is then it takes the responsibility off of your head. It's like, well, it wasn't my decision. This is what someone who I care and trust about said I should do.
I think that's the key. It's about responsibility. Ultimately, that avoiding loneliness is really avoiding responsibility.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, is that what Wilson did on Castaway? I didn't really watch Castaway. I sort of watched it.
Well, I think that's what we do whenever it's like, you and I were talking about a situation for me this morning before the program, a personal situation. It would have been really nice if you said, hey, Bob, you should do this. And then I could go do it. And then if it didn't go the way I was hoping, I said, well, Tom told me to do it. I just did what Tom said. That's on Tom, not me. And I think that's part of the mental game we like to play with ourselves. And I think that's where a coach can be valuable, because the coach helps you restore responsibility and also recognize the power of that responsibility. And because it in a good way, if there are many times that coaches have said to me, you handled that really well. And it's like, oh, wow, that builds your confidence. That starts to make you realize, whereas I might have thought, I can remember one thing where I thought I completely blew it. And they're like, I've never seen that before. I can't believe you came up with that answer so quickly. That's a really good response. That's good instinct. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. So that's the value of it.
Yes, and I think it's also the value of giving you the perspective that there's no such thing as a right decision or a wrong decision.
Right.
It's a decision,
Sure.
I was talking with that, she's like, "Well, I don't want to make the wrong decision." I'm like, "There's not really a wrong decision. It's just a decision, and with results that you can't control." And I think so often that's what we think is that there is this. It's going to, what is right and what is wrong.
And also it's a decision that you have to live with for the rest of your life. I'm sure
Yes,
having dealt with a lot of college students looking at their first job, they looked at that first job like they were going to be there 30 years and never change jobs. And statistically, everyone is going to go through 7 different jobs in their career, average. So the odds of your daughter moving to the next job and it being her job for the rest of her life, really slim. But I think we, in our heads, you think of a decision you make today that it's going to be the final frontier.
correct.
Like I just signed a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage for my penthouse. I was like, wow, 30 years. I'll be, wow, that's up there. The
Yes,
odds of me being there that long, probably slim. The average person buys a house every 5 to 7 years. Or
correct.
changes where they live every 5 to 7 years. So this is not like a forever decision, but we often think of little decisions as forever decisions. I'm going to hire this person. What if they don't work out? Here's the reality. If they don't work out, you're going to deal with it. They're going to deal with it.
Correct.
And
And
I
then
think
you move
coaches
forward.
have helped me to see that perspective, that there is that these are not the ultimate decisions. They're
Sure.
just a decision for today.
Yes, and not that they don't have impact. They have impact, and they are, and you could look at them as significant decisions. You could, although you don't know. And again, I think we don't always recognize what we know. Um, I'm going to put this point up, and then Michael has another point. I'll share Michael's first, but I think I'm going to share Michael's first.
Okay.
And I know he's going through some challenges, preparing for a patent trial, and dealing with lawyers in a whole new world of court communication with no
Emotion.
emotion in finding justice. Different style of coaching out of your realm of thinking. Well, I think some of that goes to, taking the emotion out of it, which is very difficult for some, usually the people who are directly involved in the case, easier for the lawyer.
Well, that's
Who's
why you
trying-
have a lawyer, right?
Correct.
To take the emotion out of the situation. They are dealing with the process and the procedure and trying to adjudicate the matter so that you can have the emotion.
Correct. And here's back to, I think, a little bit back to, so Michael, good luck with that. We know, I'd like to know.
You said good luck like you mean good luck in a positive way. The way you said it was like good luck with that.
Oh, yeah. No.
That's not what you meant, right?
No, and Michael, if you want to send me a message, I'd love to know be reminded. I know you shared it once of the date of that. You don't have to share that with everyone, but I
think it was April 24th.
That's good memory if that was correct.
But
so here's another comment that I think is a good one, and I think goes back to a little bit about the whole, right or wrong decision. I hope I'm saying this right. Aura? Was that how you pronounce that?
Aura.
Good morning, Tom
networking
and
group
Bob.
with me. Good to see you this morning, Aura.
I made not so good decisions, but I have learned so much. It is priceless. So it's fascinating to me. What I love about this, and thank you for sharing this, is you qualify it as not so good because that's the result you felt in the moment. But if you were to go back now and look at it, and what I would say is, maybe think about it as you made a decision and I have learned so much from it rather than but. And the but really qualifies that means it wasn't a not so good decision. It was something that you learned a lot from. And I think that's the challenge is we don't know immediately what over the long term we are going to learn from any decision or any action that we take. And again, the results that we get in a moment can change. And even though we might think, wow, that was the worst decision I ever made, or that was the most horrible thing that ever happened to me, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you might look back and be like, geez, you know what? If that had not happened, this, and this wouldn't have happened. And I wouldn't give up the opportunity to have this, and this happen. And I think that's the part of it that I think is so lonely, as we can only focus on the immediate results. We can't figure out how to, because we don't know the long-term results. But I think if we can decide that I'm going to get results, I'm going to try not to judge them, and then I'm going to see and try to keep learning from these results as time goes on and results change.
No, I think that's where coaching can really come in to help. Because like the lawyer in a lawsuit who can separate the emotion from the procedure and the legal matters, the coach can often separate the emotion and say, okay, I get that you're frustrated, but let's step back here for a minute and look at this objectively. What can we learn from
it? And think about all the things that could happen because of this going forward, and that all of these results could change. And I think, like Aura said, is that, initially it was deemed a not so good decision. Looking back now, it'd probably be like, wow, in some regards, even though I don't want to judge it, that might have been the best decision I ever made because of all that I learned from it, and it's going to allow me to do things differently in the future, I think, is one of the true values of it. So, Bob, do you have your one thing?
I do. I think it's, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I don't think it's really about avoiding loneliness as much as our efforts to avoid responsibility for our decisions. And I think that's where coaching support can be really powerful to help us regain the confidence to take control of those decisions and say, this is what I want to do and this is why. And then to learn when the decisions don't lead us where we want to go.
I like that. Mine's going to be a little different, although I have to share this too.
Okay.
And I appreciate, Aura, you following up. That this is exactly because all those pieces built me to what I am today. And in the big picture, I like this me. I feel that I can still grow. I love that. Thank you very much.
Yes, that is marvelous. Thank you for sharing that, Aura.
And I think that's one of the things that we don't know, right? We don't know what the long-term impact of any action, reaction is. And yet we are so quick to want to judge it. And I'm going to go and I'm going to take a different route than you.
Okay.
I'm going to say I think it is avoiding loneliness, because I think just like Tom Hanks in the movie that Michael referenced earlier,
Castaways,
he truly was alone, and it felt like had no one to talk to. And I oftentimes felt that way in some of the leadership roles I had. It's like I'd really love to have a partner by my side that we could sit and have a conversation through this, and understanding all the challenges that creates. And so having someone that I could talk to really helped me feel not alone, not like I was in this all by myself, and having to figure everything out that I've gone through similar situations, and yet never the exact situation that you're dealing with, and how nice it is to not have that feeling of being alone, so that you can figure out how to do things. You can talk to people about what are things that are going on, even if they don't necessarily give you the answer that you want, desire, or feel like you have to take. So I'm going to stick with loneliness.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
All right, everyone, if you have your one thing that you'd like to share, please feel free to do. As you can see, Michael and Aura felt free to share their comments, and I know those comments will have impact on others. They had an impact on me. And so likely as others are looking through it. So please feel free to share your one thing or any thoughts you have around this concept of the value of coaching support and or the loneliness or avoiding of responsibility, as Bob would share, of being a leader or a business owner. Because we would love to see it, and we know that it'll have an impact on someone else. If you happen to listen to the podcast, unfortunately, there's no place to comment. So please feel free to join us inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where you can share your thoughts and ideas there. And while you're doing that, you may just get another thought, someone else's impact, someone else's value that might be exactly what you've been looking for. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning 7 a.m.-ish Eastern Time for our next episode of today's Antidote.
Hey, from one Wilson ball and another Wilson ball to you, embrace the renegade in you this morning and all day.
And all day. Not just this morning.
No, all day.
What happens if I'm listening to it tonight?
Embrace the renegade tonight. Tomorrow, always, as you go forth in life, every moment, be a renegade.
All right, everyone. Enjoy the day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.